it's been more than a year, and assuming you're building a bigger team.
Yeah.
And you haven't worked outside of Maruti. You haven't worked
No.
at bigger companies in the
No,
valley.
no.
So really, and this is a deeply technical problem.
Yes.
So it's not a social app.
Mhm.
So there is
Yeah.
less design. Maybe there's less UI design and all those things, but
Yeah.
it is deeply technical.
Yeah.
You have to make things work, otherwise people may die if the truck
Mhm.
goes
Yes.
sideways or something like that. So how did you go about building the team, and how have you been managing as a first time sort of CTO of like a larger team?
Yeah. So building the team, I think there can be different styles to it. I think generally it goes it follows the same trajectory. There are certain things that you do that are not meant to scale, as the YC saying goes. Do things that don't scale at first. So there are certain things that you do that are not meant to scale, even in team building. And one of the things that I realized was specifically for this, you need to listen to your gut feeling.
Okay.
It doesn't scale at all. You cannot explain why you like one person versus the other, but when you only have to hire one other person, it works really well. There are, like, looking back, you can figure out a lot of reasons why a person worked or a person didn't work. But yeah, you have to listen to your gut feeling. You would also make mistakes. That also doesn't scale, but you have to make mistakes in hiring. That would be one of the biggest things that you will learn. And no one can, even I'm like technically giving advice, but no one can give you an advice that you can just follow and do the right thing all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the first step in figuring out, and then going forward, you have to just try to formalize it as much as you can. I won't say that this needs to be written down right away. The more you can formalize this, the more scalable you make building your team. But at the end of the day, there's a trade-off between how much how fast you want to move and how much process oriented you need to be.
And do you still interview? Like, do you do the final interview for every technical hire?
Yes, yeah, we have two today.
Okay.
Yes.
We saw some
Yeah.
people downstairs also. Okay, and the more interesting one is, did you have to fire anyone?
Yes. So at Updroid, I had to fire that was my first fire. It was looking back, I think it was a relatively simple one. There were no complications in it. It just because it was the first one, it was more nervous or nerve-wracking at that point. There were more difficult firings that I had to do at Starsky. And in general, to your question about like being a first-time manager, I think that was a big challenge. I think my philosophy, I guess, in this context is trying to make sure that we are really merit-based, and that's annoying.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So it's so we at least I try to be really merit based, which also means that there is an extra burden on me to figure out what that merit is. Someone doing their job is there at a high level makes sense, but at some point you have to like boil that down into how fast did we do? Did they actually do a good job at their job? And were there things that did they like share the same work culture values? Is that compatible with me or with the other team members and all of that? Coming to that conclusion is really hard, and the first time I had to do that, that was actually really hard.